welcome on board Mr. RBV Bubna, MD at Sharda Cropchem, to understand what the global agri-cycle is looking like. And given the fact that last year was very strong when it comes to the agri-supercycle, are we looking at some sort of plateauing of demand when it comes to the global exports is something that we would want to understand from the management. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Bubna. First of all, there is a bit of weakening outlook when it comes to La Nina, and that's the reversal of drought which is happening in Latam. Plus, there is waning demand for soy as well as overall, given the high base, the street and experts are expecting that global agri-cycle might cool off a tad bit. Is this something that you are worried about as well?
Madam, we are not worried about it, but I think this is a reality and a fact. There is a mixed reaction. In some regions, the weather is good, and other regions, the weather is very unfriendly. So overall, whatever you have said is correct. In some regions, there is still a good demand, but other parts of the world, there is a flattening of demand.
Net, Mr. Bubna, if I have to put it across for your company itself, we have seen that recently you have been posting very good and very strong growth from 2,000 crores in FY21. Revenue jumped up all the way to 3,600 crores in FY22. Going forward, will this growth rate taper a tad bit, given you are saying that there is some flattening of demand, or this kind of growth rate is sustainable?
Madam, it is too early to say for the whole year, but our volumes are still on the increase, and let us see how it happens in the next 2 quarters.
Right. Mr. Bubna, if you could just tell us that, how things are moving as far as, Europe agriculture is concerned, considering that, inflation there is very high, considering that, spare income is on the lower side. Are you seeing any issues as far as agriculture in Europe is concerned, or how are they procuring in terms of the products that you supply?
See, in terms of demand, there's not much of an issue, but European economy is not doing well, and euro-dollar cross-currency exchange rate is falling very steeply. That will have an adverse impact on all the businesses, including Sharda Cropchem.
Right. So what is the company doing?
Sourcing is all in dollars, and in Europe, which is more than 45% of our total sales, it's all in euro or euro-related currencies. So that will definitely have some counter effect on the total performance.
Right. So what do you think, will happen to margins of Sharda because of currency and the sort of outlook that you gave us for Europe and some other nations? You think there will be some volatility till it stabilizes?
Yeah, there would be some volatility till it stabilizes. Right now, it's having an adverse impact on our margins.
Having an adverse impact on the margins, but how's the overall pricing environment? Because recently we had seen that prices were at decadal high levels. Have they cooled off from there or continue to stay at an elevated level?
You mean selling price or?
Selling price, realizations for you.
Madam, selling prices, there is not much of an impact. They are maintaining. But since our sourcing is in dollars, so in terms of the dollars we get out of the euros, that has come down.
Okay, since you mentioned about it, in terms of the raw material,
$1.2 per euro. Now it's come down to almost $1.01 per kilo. That will have an adverse impact on our margins.
Okay, just wanted to scratch that point further, since you mentioned the raw material procurement and you mentioned the rates have moved adversely for you. But overall, what kind of dependence do you have when it comes to China for raw materials, and how's the overall supply chain panning out for raw material? Is there any concern there?
There is no concern. The things are as usual. We are able to get all our requirements, and on the contrary, the logistics are getting a little easier as compared to what it was in the last quarter, March quarter, and the freight rates are also softening.
Just before we let you go, wanted to understand what's your capex plan, if any, going forward? Are you looking at making some sort of investments? What's the utilization level and the strategy to do the backward and forward integration?
Madam, our main investments are in intangible assets, which is registrations. Our business model is totally based on our ability to receive registrations and increase our portfolio and improve the label, number of crops for our product can be used. That effort is continuing, and we'll keep on investing on the registrations, which is to the tune of 400, more than 400 crores last year. And we feel that it will remain at the same level in the current year, if not little more.
Okay, Mr. Bubna, we let you go on that note. Thank you so much for joining us with that quick update of what's happening with respect to the global markets as well as how our currency rates impacting your own business. We'll let you go on that note. Quickly taking